Good day all, it is 6:25 p.m. on what they tell us is the 12th of the 11th, 2024. 2 months' time I'll be 64. Oh dear, oh Lord. Anyway, I'm continuing in my manifesto series. And I've spoken, I forgot about that meme there. That's from Jurassic Park, you remember that? When he was trying to sell stuff to make money, at the expense of the park. But there you go. We all do that. That's what we do. As human beings, we do that. I want to talk about the farmers. On the 19th of this month, I believe, there's a demonstration on Parliament, on London. Let me just tell you something that I haven't said for quite some months. Let me just explain to you, human beings, and this is for human beings. When you go into their courts, you're pleading with them. When you go on a demonstration, you're appealing to them. When you sign a petition, you're begging them. And when you use their money, you're in debt to them. I come up with that 2 or 3 years back. I haven't said it for a while, so it's worth saying it again. But these farmers, now this is going to be quite confrontational to some of you, especially farmers. But what I'm trying to, the point I'm trying to make here, and often trying to make, is how fractured we are from each other. So the farmers are today calling for our help. And quite rightly so. But they've been happy for a long time to have these subsidies and whatever, and to get paid for setting land aside, not growing anything, this, that and the other. And now, it's coming back, all their chickens are coming home to roost, so to speak, as it does for all different parts of society. And if it hasn't hit you yet, it will do. It will do. Because nobody cares as long as I'm all right, Jack. And that's the mentality of human beings. I'm all right, Jack. And so I don't care. I might, voice an opinion or stick an emoji up, this, that and the other. Very soon you won't hear people talking at all. You only see people writing comments at all. It'd just be an emoji, thumbs up or thumbs down or something like that. Because that's the way it's going. We don't talk to each other face to face. And, the day will soon be upon us when we don't talk to each other via the internet. But anyway, onward and forward. And so those farmers want our support. And, it was 80 odd years ago that our governments were telling our grandparents and our great-grandparents to dig for victory. Dig for victory. And now, I was out with Terry today. I haven't spoken about Terry for ages. First time we've been out together for ages. As normal, when we get out, things get a bit fucking heated. Nobody do I know that can defend the jab in quite the way Terry does. Nobody. That was one of the things where words got heated whatever while we was out today. And I saved my, he's defending it and this, that and the other and everything else. So I saved my greatest line for when he got out of the car. And I dropped him off at home. Saved what I thought was my best line. I said to him, do you know why AstraZeneca withdrew their COVID injection? He said, yeah. I said, why? He said, because it was killing people. I said, see you later, and drove off. See you later, and drove off. I love him to bits, and I owe him much. I've said this before on my channel. When I first met him in '89 or whatever, he taught me so much about the Native American peoples and how to look at them, not through rose-coloured spectacles, but, you know, there was good and bad amongst them, just the same as there is good and bad amongst us today, amongst us human beings. But anyway, another thing we spoke about was food. I said, when you was a kid, where did your mum go shopping? And Terry's 74 in a few weeks. I don't know if it's this month or next month. He's 74. So he used to go with his mum shopping in the 50s. Brought up in the East End of London. Markets. He should go to markets. You know, go to the butchers and the fishmongers, etc., but it was mainly markets. He said, I never see a supermarket till 1963. The supermarket being Tesco's. He said, I never see one of them till 1963. There were shops, he said, but there wasn't supermarkets. So I said to him, right, think about the diet that you had then and the food your mum would buy. I said, and now think about the food or so-called food that is available to you now in a supermarket. And that brought about silence and whatever. Because we was also talking about lifestyles, this, that and the other. And whatever. And have you seen that? Have you seen that real video of the really large, obese African woman? And it's obviously on some sort of dating show, whatever. And she's saying to this bloke, asking him a question, what would be the first meal that you buy me? And he looked at her and he said, a salad. She didn't like that. She didn't like that. I don't know if you've seen that. That's it's funny. You've got to laugh. If you don't laugh, you cry. But these farmers today, and you know, they're calling on everybody to support them. Everybody to support them. And with some justification, because we need the farmers. But now their chickens are coming home to roost. And you know that old saying, first they come for the Jews, and I did nothing because I want a Jew, then they come for the socialists, etc., etc., etc. Well, now they're coming for the farmers and the old people. You know, I looked out today and noticed that the clouds, and there were some natural clouds today, but they were coming from the northeast. I live in the southeast, coming from the northeast. So the seasons are changing. Are you changing? Because if you ain't changing, you're choosing. If you ain't changing, you're choosing. And those farmers, did they care about anyone else while they was getting their subsidies and their payments for setting aside land, this, that and the other? Now, they might not have all done it, but I'm not having a go at the farmers. I'm having a go at the system and how we all abuse it if it serves us, and couldn't give a flying toss about anybody else. And that's what we do. So if you're going to join those farmers on the, I think it's the 19th of November, if you're going to join those farmers, then let me know if your intention is to bring down this paedophile, self-serving, narcissistic, you know what I mean, infected government and civil service, and I'll come up there and join me, yeah? And we can move Guy Fawkes to a new day, and I'll join you. If you're going to bring this government down and all that it stands for, not just controlling your mind, but controlling every physical aspect of your life, your incarnation, to incarnate, to imprison. And that's what you are, imprisoned. Your soul is imprisoned by the spirit of your physical life. Your soul is imprisoned by your mind and your ego. When you can wake up to this, then we can change. If we're not going to change, we're choosing what is dished out to us. We're choosing it. We're masochists. We love pain. And the bastards that control us are sadists. They love dishing out pain. Now, I like a bit of pain in a consensual setting with a consensual adult, this, that and the other. Make no mistake about it. I like a bit of pain, mutual spanking and stuff like that. I've done that in the past. But in a consensual setting. Never been forced. Everything that we experience today, whether you're a farmer, an old age pensioner, whatever, whoever you are, you're choosing that. We're all choosing it because we don't stand together as mankind. We're not supposed to. We're supposed to be human beings and hate each other because of somebody's skin colour, hair colour, sexual orientation, this, that and the other. Political persuasion and sporting allegiances. We're supposed to hate each other. That's what human beings do best. Mankind cares, right? Mankind cares. Human beings don't. They hate, and they do it very well. And I'm not part of that. That's not me. You know, I don't subscribe to that. But it's all right sitting there, wherever you are, in resonance with what the farmers are going through. It's all right sitting there, you know, feeling empathy for the old age pensioners and what they're going to go through potentially this winter. You people that fight for animal rights, and quite rightly so. Do you fight for the rights of human beings, your fellow man, sleeping in the streets, this, that and the other, in the same way that you fight for animals? You can't pick and choose if you're man. You do if you're human. You choose your enemies and you choose that which you want to support, this, that and the other. But not if you're man. And, I realise we've realised the real lies. And I'm going to continue speaking about this and the difference between man and human beings, between soul and spirit. And all those opposites, polar opposites, whenever it comes to me, I'm going to continue speaking about it. Because what it ultimately represents within you are the two wolves fighting inside you. The one you are feeding is the one that is growing. And often it's because you just don't care. You might think you love, but if that love has no care at its base, then it's just lust. Or ego love. That's the truth. And I piss a lot of people off, I know I do, because I speak the truth. Pissed Terry off today when I spoke about Adolf Hitler and, what he done. When you look at that, oh, by the way, hope that link in my description box works now. Thanks to everybody that sent me links. They didn't always work, but this one did, so I'll put it in the description box. Adolf Hitler, the greatest story never told. Go and listen to it. Go and listen to it. And I see footage today of Macron and Keir Starmer yesterday at the 80-year anniversary, and somebody said, that looks exactly like Hitler. There's pictures, videos of Hitler in a similar sort of vehicle going round applauding, and they're right. Because these people today that rule you are doing the exact same thing that our leaders yesteryear accused Hitler of doing. They're doing exactly the same thing. And it's brilliant. The Nazis, we're told, come up with a slogan. Tell a lie often enough, make it big enough, tell it often enough, and they'll believe it. That's propaganda. That's what happens today. You can see when you've got the ability to think for yourself and not think as you're told, you can see these things. The parallels with the past. What we're told Hitler put his people through, and the Polish people, it wasn't Polish people, it was German people in Poland, in the part of Germany that was annexed to Poland after the Treaty of Versailles, following the First World War. What about the transfer agreement? How many of you know about the transfer agreement? Go and look it up, find out for yourself. Don't believe a word I say. Right? Don't just come back at me and like Terry does, this, that, and the other. Go and prove me wrong. Think for yourself instead of thinking what you're told. Research, question. Question everything you know. That's what I do all the time. And that's why I've come to the state of awareness that I have. And that's why I can feel truth in a way, because it's an energy, frequency and vibration. And we should all be able to do that if we wasn't so programmed and indoctrinated. I don't have a telly, you've got a telly. It's where your programming and indoctrination comes from. And I've told you before the story of how the telly come to be, the television. John Logie Baird. One of the components he used was the spirit tube, developed by either Sir Oliver Lodge or Sir William Crookes, in order to try and communicate with the spirit world. Research, look it up yourself. Don't take my word for it. But then, if you're not going to research what I say to find out for yourself, don't fucking argue with me. Don't argue with me. Don't debate with me. Unless you can find proof that counteracts what I'm saying to you. Because my intention is pure. Everything about my intention is pure. I don't want nothing from you. Look in the description box. I don't ask you to buy books, DVDs, this, that and the other. I just want you to care. I don't want you to know me. You don't have to know me. I want you to know the message that I share here. So many other people out there want you to recognise them. I don't want to be recognised. I couldn't give a flying fuck what anybody feels about me. Really couldn't. What I care about is what they feel about the message that I share. I don't care who you are. If you're black, white, yellow, red, gay, straight, Republican, Democrat, whatever. I don't care who you are. What I care about is if your words, deeds and actions cause harm, loss or injury to another. That's all I care about. And when I see it, I will raise my voice. And sometimes I will get angry. And that's sacred anger. Mark Passio will tell you that. It's justified because my intention is pure. I'm not better than you. I'm just better than what I was. And I continue to try to be better than what I was. Everything that I was. And that's what you should be doing. You shouldn't be, compliant and comfortable with what you are and the status quo. You shouldn't be comfortable with this unnatural reality that we live in. But you are, because you're a human being. Mankind would not, and is not comfortable with that. That's why I'm not comfortable, because I am from the genus man. My ancestral roots go back to man. Yes, my genetics have been modified and this, that and the other because of, to serve an agenda. I'm awake and aware to that. I can see it. I can see that those that done it created the first man and woman, and they were black. Interesting. In the Bible, it says the first man was Adam. They took a rib from him. God took a rib from him and created Eve. And then they had 3 children, all sons. So how the fuck did we all get here? If they had 3 sons, this first couple, how did we get here? If we all come from Adam and Eve. Take your time with that one. Take your time with that one. But I had a chat with somebody I hold in great respect yesterday. I sent them the Adolf Hitler link. They started to watch it, and then we had a chat on the phone, She said, you've got your beliefs and whatever. I've got mine. This is Barbara Allman, somebody I hold in great respect. And so I sent her a voicemail on Messenger. I said, everybody can mock me, block me, deride me, this, that and the other. I said, but because of what you said to me the first time we ever met 8 years and a couple of weeks ago, I said, you should be last in that queue. Because she's the one that stood on a public platform and told me that Jesus walks with me. I told her afterwards it took some balls to stand on a public platform and give that message. And I told her afterwards also that you can only do that if you are suitably developed and aware to raise your vibratory state up to meet that vibratory state, that energy, frequency and vibration. And she agreed with me on both points. But when she told me that from the platform, she said, you got somebody working with you with white robes with gold round it, pointing to the cuffs and, around the neck. She said, you know it is, don't you? I said, yeah, I do. I said, but by the same token, so do you. And with that, her body went, and she had to steady herself, and her legs that were shaking, her whole body was shaking, grabbing hold of the altar table on the platform where she was standing at Hive Christian Spiritualist Church in Kent, one October night in 2016. No, I don't say that to big myself up. I say that to you to empower, enlighten and enable you that this figure, that whether he walked the earth or not in the way that we're told, what he stands for, anarchy, it's the greatest anarchist, no rulers, and he taught so much. Let your eye be single, meditate, to know thyself, as I do you can do also, he said, and far greater things, and knowing the truth will set you free. There's a lot of truth I know, but the knowing of it is still to come. And I share that here because I care, and that is the manifesto of man, to care. It's not to love. Love can only come from care. You've got to care first. And nobody cares. No human being cares for another human being. They may think they do, and they may in fact do so, but if they do, then they care for their fellow man, which is different. They might not understand it. As for most of my life, I haven't understood it. And everything about it, I'm still seeking to understand and comprehend. And I do so because I care. I care. I care for every human being on the planet. I care for every man and woman on the planet and every child. I care for the two-legged, the four-legged, the winged, those that crawl upon the earth, burrow under the earth, those that swim in the sea, the standing nations, plants, trees, etc., the rock nations, the mineral nations, because I know, and I've known for a long time, what me takui oyasin means. Everything is not just related. I know it is all connected. Even those dark, demonic, satanic beings that seek to control us, by default, we are related or connected to them. In the seen and the unseen, the heard and the unheard. But I speak like this, not to gain sympathy or understanding from any of you, when I talk about myself, or respect. I don't want none of that neither. You know, respect the message. I don't want your sympathy. Be sympathetic to the message that I speak. Whatever. But I speak like this because I know and have a knowing that we all go through stuff like this. We're all challenged, this, that and the other. And what defines us is if we seek to break free from that which challenges us and controls us and dominates us. And the only way we can do it, there is only one way we can do it. It's not by reaching outside of ourselves for someone to lead us. It's by going within the self, the true self, deep to the true self, beyond the mind, the ego and the spirit, to the conscious expression of soul and so source. Because we create everything. We're all responsible. And so what we're not changing, we're choosing. When we can understand that, without ego, when we can step outside the fear of what change may bring us and embrace change, if your intention is pure and just and honourable, and I speak from experience, humble experience, the universe will be with you. It's always been with me. The universe has always been with me. I might not have known it at various points in my life. I might not have appreciated it at various points in my life. But I can stand here now as a nearly 64-year-old telling you that the universe has always had my back. And it's interesting for me because I never, ever, when I first became aware of my abilities outside the five senses, my spiritual gifts, I never felt comfortable. It didn't seem right to me, as green and naive as I was back then in the 80s, and yes, I may be now. It never felt right to me to charge for what everybody told me were spiritual gifts. So I give them to people. And the universe has always met all my needs. If I'd have charged, then spirit would have supplied all my wants. And it never felt right to me, but I know now that the spirit is false. It is a corruption of the true self, the soul consciousness from source that we are. We are the light, we are the way. From the beginning, we are there. Not me, Barry, the person, the man, the spirit, but that which is the within. That's just a vessel for the soul, the incarnated, imprisoned soul in this physical and spiritual form. When you seek to understand that, you can let go of so much stuff, deal with so much shit, so much trauma, so many shadows, because you have to first, and this is the truth, certainly from my experience, you have to first start caring for yourself. Not with arrogance or narcissism or ego or anything like that. You have to simply start caring for yourself. And that is how I have become a man. I might have been born male, and I continue to become a man in this form, this physical form. because I care for me first and foremost. And when I understand the depth, the esoteric meaning of that, then I can truly start to love myself. And once I've done that, I can care for those beyond me and love them truly. Not because I want to get in their knickers or anything like that, because they are like me, incarnated, imprisoned souls, in human form, in spiritual form. And it is my life's purpose to change that for myself and for you. It gives my life meaning. I have the purpose and the meaning, and that's why I do what I do, because I care, seek to care. I see through the illusions of the false matrix, the womb, the uterus, the origin of source, that predator mind that Castaneda spoke about come and put the proverbial fuck into as soon as he sensed the energy, frequency and vibration of this developing and expanding universe that was born from a feminine energy. The male predator mind, spirit, said, I'll have some of that. And the Gnostics talk about it. You know, it's there. I'm not bringing anything new to the table. Nobody ever does. All they can do, certainly all I can do, and all I seek to do, is share to empower, enlighten and enable my awareness to you, to help to empower, enlighten and enable you to who and what you truly are, and not what they've told you you are. I do it because I care. That, again, I mentioned it, that presentation of Mark Passio's from Philadelphia, 2014 I think it was. Absolutely powerful stuff. Speaking for nearly 9 hours and then brought it down to that one word at the end, care. Didn't say it was love. He said it's a 4-letter word. People shouted love. No, he said it's not love. It's care. You can't love until you care. You've got to learn, understand, comprehend what it is to care before you have any hope of really understanding and embracing what love truly is. That's a manifesto of man, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Passio was so right. He might not be the only one to say it. Somebody might have said it before him. But when I first heard that, and I've listened to it a few times over the years, and I still seek to learning more every time I think about it. And that's all we can ever do. Learn in order that we may become more aware. That's all we can ever do. And that's, I can't see any other meaning for the purpose of life. It's not to be that battery for those, you know, dark, demonic, satanic, spiritual forces, physically, in the physical or in the non-physical. It's not to be that battery and feed them. They only live to enslave us, and they enslave us for our fear, ignorance and compliance. And when you can step outside your fear and drop your ego and learn again, unlearn what you know and learn again, you will stop being compliant with those that enslave you, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and on a soul conscious level, because you don't know so many. Most of the world doesn't know about the true essence of self. They can't get beyond the spiritual aspect of self. And they certainly can't get beyond the ego of the spiritual self. My God said this, my God said that. I've shit over people and made them look right fools when they've said, my God said this, my God said that. Me and Shelley was having a deep and meaningful philosophical conversation about this while she was doing my feet the other day. And it's really interesting. It's really interesting. And I say to you quite often, and again, that's another thing, I've never really been that interested in what people know as spirit guides, because my awareness has grown. So I've known for years now that spirit guides are no more than lives of soul that I have led before. And so whatever mess I'm in, they're partly at fault for it. All those spirit guides, this, that and the other. And if they haven't grown in awareness, those other aspects of self, then they're not worth listening to. Spirit helpers outside your soul's journey, they are. And I'd much rather listen to them and learn from them. But even then, I'd much rather go within and become aware myself that I am but a receiver for all that was, is, and will be. And I could teach you quite easily, teach any of you, just like loads of other people are doing and charging you loads of money for it, how to link with spirit. I could do that. I'd choose not to do that. I'd choose to bypass all that to the true self. Because we all are here to learn to lead ourselves and not be led. And in order to do that, we got to care enough about the self. It's a paradigm shifting moment when you start to care for yourself. I remember the first time I stood and started caring for myself was after my divorce. And I come out the bathroom one day. I'd locked myself away for, well, it wasn't after my divorce, after my marriage broke up. And I locked myself away for a few months, dealing with my emotional baggage. I didn't intend it to be a few months, but that's what it took. And the only time I come out of the house was to go and get a loaf of bread, packet of fags or whatever, and straight back home. Never done anything else. And it was me and 3 tracks. This is what done it for me. And it worked for me. Might not work for you. Find your own way. Knocking on Evan's door, Lady Smith, Black Man Bamzo. Flying Without Wings, Westlife. And Something Inside So Strong, Labby Sifri. Me and those 3 records. For 3, 4, 5 months. Can't remember how long it was. Dealing with all my emotional baggage for the marriage. And went back to my earliest memories and the trauma of having a father who was like he was, this, that and everything else that come from it. All the bullying that I was subject to because I was shook, because I was in so bullying from my peers at school because my father and how he treated me. I was just a nervous fucking wreck until I went to my first healer. My mum took me when I was 16, 17, 18, something like that, maybe a bit older, to see a lady called Lily Mae Amos. I was covered with psoriasis, this, that and the other, all over my body. Still got little bits, little bit on me elbows and my knees, and sometimes a little bit on my back, but I go to sunbed to try and stop that, and Shelley helps with the reflexology and whatever. But Lily cured me, healed me. She didn't treat me like a doctor does. She healed me of that psoriasis. And coupled with that, and when I started walking this spiritual path 40 years ago this year, when my maternal grandfather died, I started to lose the visible tremors and shakes that I had. But I was always mocked and ridiculed for that. That was a result of the way my father treated me. And then, so I suffered then, and then suffered again because my peers mocked me and called me Shaking Stevens, this, that, you know, and all other sorts of names. So I come out of that bathroom after 3, 4, 5 months of listening to these 3 tracks, dealing with my shit, this, that, you know. And I had a big long mirror in the wall on the landing there. And I've always had issues about the self, body, image issues, this, that, and that. And I just stood in front of that mirror, dropped the towel, and for the first time in my life, I loved what I was seeing. Fell in love, actually, with what I was seeing. Not in a narcissistic way. And it was about accepting the self. Warts and all, this, that, and the other. And it was a pivotal moment for me on my journey. A life-changing moment. Paradigm shift. And what it has led to is me continuing to deal with my demons, mental, emotional, etc., etc., etc. And never stopping. There's nobody outside of me that has the ability or the power to judge me as I can judge myself, as I'm prepared to judge myself. So I don't care who you are. You know, you might think you have power over me. You haven't. I have power over me. I have power over that which I was and have been. And I use that power humbly and wisely. Not to profit from another, but to profit the self in my growing, conscious, awakening state. And I share on here because I care for you to empower, enlighten, and enable you to do the same. You're not what they tell you you are. You're not a human being. You're man. You're woman. You're mankind. You're not a spiritual being having a human experience. You're not a human being having a spiritual experience. A spiritual being having a human experience. You are a conscious expression of creation itself, incarnated here, blinded by your own light, in physical form with a spirit for that physical form, aiding and abetting your own enslavement, incarnation after incarnation. Allowing those dark, demonic, satanic beings to feast upon your energy and be a battery for them. Well, not me, not anymore. I'm not ignorant of that anymore. And my awareness of that grows exponentially every day that I continue to learn what it is to live here in the physical, as opposed to what so many are doing, simply living. I share this with you because I care. I care enough for my fellow incarnated souls to awaken them to that which they truly are. And once we can do that, for each other. There's nothing greater. There's no greater purpose or no greater meaning to this physical incarnation than that. To first care and then share. To support. Work for the self by all means, but live for each other. That's what you want to do. Work for the self by all means, but live for each other. Once you can understand that, then everybody will do the same. Once we can all understand it, everybody will be the same. And we can take down this system of control that has regimented our mindset, our behaviour. Every time we are incarnated here, imprisoned here in new physical and spiritual form. That's not what you are. You're not the man and woman. That is an experience of the soul. And you certainly ain't a human being. That is no more than a battery for those dark, demonic, satanic, spiritual forces that feast upon your energy, frequency and vibration. Care enough about yourself to change. Otherwise you're just choosing. Care enough about others to empower, enlighten and enable them with your growing awareness and knowing. Share it so they would change. Be the difference. If you're not changing, you're choosing. Care is where we should all be. Care for the self and care for others. That is the manifesto of man. Anything else, we're just continuing to be human beings. So when the world is ready, when this island is ready to bring down those in the physical that seek to control and govern us, and we can have, like our ancestors used to have, they used to have council, that people would come together and everybody's voice would be heard. I know it's difficult with 60 million people, but let's choose, if we're going to have people represent us, let's choose people whose intention is pure and honourable and not self-serving, and choose those that care. Let's not be careless about this. If this message resonates, share the message. Don't share me. Share the message. Palamina, thank you. In Lakesh, in UIC and enemy, Mitaku Yasin. We are all related, we're all relatives. And I tell you, every time, we're all connected. Mankind is. Anyway, soul is. Everything else is fractured. Human beings and spirit. It's all fractured. It's all corrupted. Human beings are corrupted from man, and spirit is corrupted from soul, your true essence. When you wake up to this, you won't be blinded by your own light anymore.